Today marks the start of the Children's Mental Health Week. Research says 1 in every 10 child between the ages of 5 and 17 suffers from a psychiatric disorder. These illnesses are likely to persist into adulthood. Dean Makubri, founder of My Social Life, a South African in-school digital life skills program, says young South Africans are particularly vulnerable to mental health issues. Makubri is in our Cape Town studio to talk to us about the factors contributing to this. I was so disturbed when I read those figures. How many children, Dean, are affected and for so long?
Yeah, I think what we need to understand is that in general, in life, there is always so much activity and information all around us, some of it positive and some of it negative. But then when we add the layer of news on top of that, so we start looking at current affairs that happen in all aspects of, or all areas of the world, that our children can now access those. We used to just have, say, for example, newspapers or the radio. But now our children at all sorts of different ages, as young as age 5 all the way up to 17 and 18, can access this through a phone, through social feeds. In America, they say that 55% of Americans are consuming news via Facebook. So these devices have given our children access to the media, to news, and our news is quite negative. Look at the coronavirus.
Yes, frightening if you don't know and don't understand. I get that. And also they're subjected to cyberbullying, aren't they? They're subjected to other kids comparing themselves to them, the fact that possibly they never look good enough.
Exactly. Both of those are big factors. So we teach in South African schools. We offer 8 lessons on digital life skills and digital citizenship. And the kids talk to us. We are one of the few programs in this country where the kids are allowed to engage with us and tell us what's actually happening in their lives. So we get very much on-the-ground feedback. And both those two issues, cyberbullying and what is known as the toxic mirror, so looking at our phones and then it reflecting back at us just how good we don't feel about ourselves or what we don't have, are two of the key issues. There was a Vodafone survey, actually, which explained that 1 in 5 children feel suicidal around some of the things that have happened to them with respect to cyberbullying, which is staggeringly high.
Wow, 1 in 5. Okay. So these mental health issues, how do they play out? Depression, obviously, I believe self-harming. I mean, what else is happening to them?
Yeah. Depression is significant. Anxiety is significant. Cutting, obsessive compulsive disorder, body disorders, things around self-esteem. So essentially, if we consider that when we're looking into the phone, it actually reflects back often other people's lives, their bodies, the parties that they've been to, personalities, achievements, and so that can make our self-esteem start to dip, and that in itself starts to make us reflect internally about whether we are good or not good enough, and that creates some sense of shame, which brings on anxiety and depression and trying to keep up. And it's really complex for a young mind. You think about children are now accessing these smartphones and tablets from 10, 11, 12, and that's exactly when they're really vulnerable from a neurobiology and a physiology point of view, from a hormonal point of view. So, you know, I have incredible empathy for them. I feel like we've given these children these devices. It's akin to giving children a car, but not actually teaching them how to drive.
Oh, I mean, it's just absolutely petrifying. Okay, so other than taking that phone and chucking it in the bin, which obviously you can't do, what's the solution?
I think the solution is actually very simple. The adults need to come together to be able to assist these kids and to give them guidance and to put the boundaries in. Those adults are principals and their teachers, the parents, GPs when they get asked questions so that they can ask the right questions about the influence in their lives, and obviously school counselors, educational psychologists and psychiatrists. So all of us together can do a better job. It's just that it caught up on us, you know, our passion for the internet and technology has caught up on everybody, and now we realize that we gave these devices to these kids without clarifying what is really happening online. So what we've got to do is we've got to be able to watch them, we've got to ask them more questions, we've got to teach them, we've got to care for them, and we've got to help them professionally if they are really suffering. We call it watch. So watch, ask, teach, care, and professionally help them. But across all of the individuals, all of the adults can do so much more. And I think if we get closer to our kids and we have conversations with them and we ask them, what are you using and how does that make you feel, that things will actually start to turn, because we can go to our schools and say, my child isn't feeling so good. What are you teaching them? You know, how are you preparing them for life online? What digital life skills are in place? As much as we need to do social science and natural science and mathematics and English, this is the world that they're living in now. And this is the future in terms of their jobs. We need to get going, and we need to get going quite quickly.
Oh, you frightened the living daylights out of me, Dean, but thank you for the good work that you are doing, and we shall listen and watch.